Hey, what's up everyone? Shaun Murray here, and I'm currently sitting at the helm of the 2026 Malibu M230. So I've been professionally wakeboarding for over 30 years. I've won the Wakeboard World Championships 4 times. And one of the biggest goals of my content creation is to connect you, your family, and friends with good times on the water. Now, I'm not associated with Malibu in any way, and allows me to bring you my personal experience inside and behind these things. Now, if you guys want to see what it's like to get behind the M230, well, you can click the link in the description below. And that's a video of yesterday's experience when I was out on the water with Brian Grubb, who's a longtime friend of mine, as well as a professional wake skater, foiler, and surfer. Dave and Chris, also from Malibu, they came out so the 3 of those guys could take me through this thing from stem to stern and show me all the different functions and features. So let's get started. This boat comes in at 23 feet long, is 102 inches wide, has a fuel capacity of 74 gallons, has seating for up to 16 people, weighs 6,750 pounds, and has 4,100 pounds of ballast. Talking about this field of view, I can tell Malibu made an intentional change because they've kept their rake, or the angle of the windshield, and in the past their dash kind of came up, so it was this real kind of narrow spot they give you to look through. But they've gone with this really long touch display, and they've pushed that down low, this rotary command over here that allows you to control a lot of the functions throughout here. But I really like the layout. Check this out, phone holder. Not only one-hand operation, but also wireless charging there. This has a lot of the boat controls, things like your climate and lighting, seat heater here, your heated steering wheel, yep, as well as your heater fan. You have a couple different speeds on that. This is where you can control your stereo, connect Bluetooth devices, and yes, this is all touchscreen over here. The stereo system, we'll go over some of the details in that later, but they've got the zone controls you can do from here as well as back in that area. I'll show you that. This has just a really nice layout. Things like your nav and volume can be done there, but you can also control your volume by just doing here, skip tracks, play, pause. This seat not only rotates, but you can move it up and down with power, can move it forward and aft. But it's crazy, like how, like I'm not that tall, I'm 5'6", and my legs are kind of short, honestly. So for my feet to be able to touch the ground and then to take this thing up to its highest position, but that's not even the max that you have, because with the bolster, I'm going to take this thing all the way up. So now with the seat in its highest position at the power control, and then with the bolster, I'm nearly standing and I still have support and have a good view. There's also 3 custom presets, so you get the seat where you want it. You hit 1, 2, or 3, choose what position you want to be in. Now also controlled from this area is the sun deck mister as well as the tower mister. Freshwater tank is bored under that seat over there. And what that does is when it's, say, a hot climate out and you want to cool things off, you can get a mist going from the tower as well as back of the transom seats. Yeah, they have that. So this is called the rotary sport dial. Now, this has an 8-way rotary dial that allows you to do different things like change the speed, change the volume, play, pause, track. You also have some tabs to do things like change the wave left to right. That's really nice, so you don't have to go up and necessarily do it up here, which you can, but you can be looking straight ahead or looking at the mirror of the surfer and hit that, and when you switch the wave, it gives an audible countdown so the surfer knows when to transfer left to right. You also have your wedge controls. That is going to change the shape of the wake or the wave and the boat's running attitude. Malibu, nice work on this one. This is the Malibu stern turn control right here. That allows the driver to not have to reach somewhere else to take their hand off the throttle when you're using the stern thruster. Now, that gives you better control of your boat, whether you're like sitting still or idling. You want to spin this thing 360, and you also can do it while the boat is off. Storage in this area. I like this. This is good for like sunglasses, extra small items over here. Driver has a few cup holders as well as more storage down here, and the sub is right at the driver's feet as well as another heater fan. Nice use of space up in this area. Now let's talk about what shapes up that wake and wave. You're gonna have a few things when you are creating that wave. Number one, you've got the ballast, and we're gonna show you some of the places they've placed all of this ballast. You've got 4,100 pounds that you can add to this thing, as well as the wedge. Now there are 12 individual dedicated pumps. So you've got 6 different tanks, and you have a pump dedicated for putting water in as well as then out. Within the different activities, up here on the screen, you're gonna have user profiles. Malibu, you've done a great job. The best I've seen so far this year with getting the right speed, starting with wakeboarding. When people are beginning to wakeboard, you really don't want to get past that 18-mile-an-hour mark, and that's what happens when you hit beginner wakeboard. It puts the speed at 18 miles an hour. There's going to be no ballast, and that is a great way to teach people to wakeboard. If you wanted to get into the intermediate wakeboarding, that is going to add some weight, only 50% back at the stern, and then you get into advanced wakeboarding. It's not necessarily going to fill up all of the ballast because they have optimized how much ballast you want to go depending on who's riding. So they're picking the speeds. You've done a good job with the speeds for all of the different levels of wakeboarding. And then with surfing, what's going to happen is it's not only going to add the weight into the specific zones depending on what kind of wave you want, but it's also going to add the Surf Gate Fusion. Now, Surf Gate is something that is proprietary to Malibu. They've had for a long time, and it has really allowed surfing to become that much faster and easier for people to create the wave. And what they've done on Fusion is they have integrated it into the hull, so it's not behind the boat, but it is placed into the boat, and it actually has a really nice sleek look. And when you hit surf left, it's going to deploy out on the right side, and that creates that wave. Now, another big factor in creating not only the waves but also the wakes is called the wedge. That is also proprietary to Malibu. They've had it for a long time, and what it is a device that is mounted at the transom, and depending on the angle of attack, it is going to pull the boat down deeper into the water and changing that boat's attitude, which is going to also change that wake or wave. They also have it to where if you want to create lift to get the boat out of the water even higher than it normally would be without it, and it made a big difference. As you'll see in the links in the description below, you'll see what it's like when we're back there shaping up that wave and the wakeboard wake. The wedge actually makes a big difference. Yes, there's a lot going on up here, but Malibu has done a good job of the interface, or what it's like for the captain to sit here and control the boat, know what's going on. But we're not done, because we got to talk about cameras. This is the first that I've seen of its kind, and they have not only the bow camera for when you are docking and the stern camera for when you are watching people surf, but they also have a 360 camera. That is the first that I've seen in the industry where they have cameras all along the boat. There's 2 on each side so that you can actually have a 360 view of what it's like. It literally looks like there's a drone over the boat right now, and I get a full view of all the way around the boat. That is great for when people are swimming or when you're getting ready to go, to make sure that there's nothing in front of you. And they have all of these different options. If you want 1 camera showing, you can have 3. Right now I've got the 360 camera, the bow, and the stern all in one view. It's pretty amazing. You can also record videos from these cameras, as well as take still photos and then look those up later. And these are also a very high resolution. It's got really good cameras, so I can clearly see what's going on here and replay some of those memories. Nice work, Malibu. Ballast controls up on the screen, really easy to understand and control. This is touchscreen. You could fill all to 50, stop, drain, all of that. Or if you want to individually control tanks, just hit that tank, tap the level you want it to go to, and that's it. You also have the ballast shift, so you can transfer weight from side to side, whether you know it or not. When you're wakeboarding, you want those wakes to be equal most of the time, and you can shift weight around without having to move people from left to right to get that wake balanced. You can change the speed up on the screen or by tapping this rotary dial up and back. This is a big bow with a lot of different ways that you can face and sit and be comfortable. But you also have non-skid going all the way around the top here with a lot of space to go to and from the dock up here. And this big space has allowed them to fit some storage underneath this seat right here. Got 6 cup holders, as well as wireless chargers with these nice spots to securely charge your phone. USB and USB-C charging, as well as 12 volt if you have some inflatable you want to pump up. Flip down armrests on both port and starboard, and this seat back lifts up for communicating storage to get all of that space under there, easily accessed from both sides there. Something pretty cool underneath this seat. So this is the Natalie seat. Well, it's because one of the engineer's wives, Natalie, said, I want a seat back so I have some support here. So that you store this right underneath here, pop it out, pop it into place, and you can chill like Natalie. Underneath these 3 seat bases here in the bow are ballast tanks. So you don't necessarily get the storage, but you're going to get that wake and wave size in exchange for that. Stowed right under the seat base is the air dam. And when you're ready to get out of the elements, you can slide it into place, close the windshield, and it's pretty crazy how much warmer it gets once you get everything closed off like that. Here in the main lounge area, there's a lot going on, so let's start right here at the dash. You've got some good storage as well as a USB charging port in here. This is a nice feature. You can just lift this up, not necessarily have to get up off the seat to reach in and grab something quickly. Convenient access to your battery switch is right here, and then check this out. This is called Raise and Lays. Underneath me is some good storage as well as enough space for a good sized trash can. Access to that is right here. A few different cup holders, some different charging ports, as well as more wireless charging. This seat base pops up, becomes a backrest, has storage underneath here and here. This is where your freshwater tank is right below me. The passenger here has controls for different interior lights, heaters, as well as stereo controls. 4 cup holders, another wireless charger, more storage under here, and this seat back folds down, has some nice non-skid, so when you walk in from the dock, you're not stepping on your upholstery. And you have these flip down steps on both sides. Speaking of both sides, you also have a fuel fill on both the port and starboard side, so no matter what side you pull up to fuel your boat up, you're on the right side. Underneath all 3 cushions, you have good storage as well as a spot for an insulated cooler. And once again, over on this side, you've got a seat base that turns into a backrest with 3 different positions. Same charging ports on port and starboard. You have got your 12 volt as well as USB and USB-C, as well as wireless charging. And not only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cup holders on here and another wireless charging port, as well as some spaces to fit either sunglasses, more phones, whatever you need over here. Good use of space over here. That's a lot of cup holders. This seat has a lot going on. Not only, you can sit here, obviously, magnetic, remove that, you can step through without going on your upholstery. Then it can also slide, becomes a big sunbed, becomes a backrest to check out all the action behind the boat, and also turns into a table. Normally this has non-skid on it, but it came straight from the factory, said, sorry, it'll go on there. But yes, that's cool. Now, if you guys want to go to MalibuBoats.com, you can go and design your own M230 and see all of the different colors on the exterior and the interior, and the amount of zones they have broken down on the gel lines and the interior zones and the non-skid, the amount of different layers you can get. It's literally endless. So we're going to continue going. Let's head to the stern. I'll show you what's happening back there. Standing at the stern of the M230, currently have this cushion removed. I like it when it's not there because it's nicer for when you're walking in and out of this area, and it's also easier to open these hatches that access the storage below. In the storage compartment, I fit 2 surfboards in there. I think you could maybe get a couple more skim boards possibly in there, life jackets, whatever you want. And right below the storage there is your engine. Now, Malibu does their own engines in-house. They're called the Monsoon. And it comes standard with the M6DI. That is a 6.2 liter, 430 horsepower engine. Or you can step up to the Monsoon LT4, which is also a 6.2 liter and 652 horsepower. Pop-up ski pylon if you want that low tow point. Transom seats on both port and starboard. A small storage box is right underneath this seat base on port and starboard. You've got 4 cup holders back here, as well as your misters on for those hot days. Kick that on, it'll cool you off. This lean back pops up for a higher backrest and also locks up this way so you can sit up here and face that way comfortably. Transom stereo remote is located over there at the port corner. A few different swim platforms. You can just get the standard or this flip down one, which becomes a nice way to get in and out of the water or just sit there and chill while you're floating and boating. You can also get this flip down in a power step. You can get some different towers here on the M230. This is a power tower, which goes up or down right here, as well as the location for the misters. You have some different bimini options here on the M230, and I really like this feature. This is clever how they've done this. And now it's locked into place just that easy. You've got storage compartments for ropes. I've got a surf rope over here, a wakeboard rope over here. You've got surf pockets up top. And this is the longer bimini, which gives you shade all the way back to this point. Something to note, because this is a long bimini, you get great shade. That's what I like, but you do want to watch your head as you're stepping in and out because it's directly over this spot here, but I prefer this one. The sound system in this boat is pretty phenomenal. It is a wet sound stereo, and you've got 8 speakers throughout the boat. The driver has a 12-inch sub at their feet. You can get an additional sub, but Malibu told me that most people end up just sticking with one sub, but where people end up upgrading more is in the tower speakers. Now, these are placed off to the side. They said they did that so that you get more head clearance, and that makes sense. You get 12-inch, these are called the 12 revs, and they are long throws to really cast that sound far out to the rider. Now, if you're out on a smaller lake, be considerate, but once again, with zone control, you can change what speakers are doing what, and so you can get 4 tower speakers. This is a 3,500 watt sound system, digitally tuned, and when we had the music going with Grub yesterday, sounded real nice. Now, speaking of electronics, the lighting in this boat looks amazing. You've got not only the interior lights, but also the compartment lights, tower lights, as well as the standard transom lighting. Now, you're gonna see a lot of different board rack options you can get on this, and this is one that has the clamps. It has a life jacket drying feature underneath here. You can rotate, and there is a few different ways that you can lock it in, but that's not all. You can also rotate it up so it's out of the way. That's what I did when I pulled into my dock to make sure I didn't hit those racks. And then this spot is for either the side tow point, which is great for pulling surfers or teaching people when they're foiling, but you can also get an additional board rack up there. So yes, you can have 4 board racks on this boat, up to 8 surfboards can fit on here. And if you want the Bimini that has the surf pockets up top, make sure that you click the one that says surf. Well, thank you guys for watching. And Malibu, thank you guys so much for letting me check out the 2026 M230. This is an impressive boat inside and behind it. I'll tell you what, if you guys want to see this wave, make sure you go click the link in the description below. Super fun to surf, foil, and wakeboard behind. And so if you guys have any questions for me or Malibu, you can put those below. Or of course, if you want to go to malibuboats.com and reach out directly to them, or find a local dealer near you to test drive one of these things, I think you'll be pretty impressed. If you don't subscribe, maybe consider doing that, and you can also hit that notification bell to know when videos are going live. And I'm very grateful that anytime you guys hit that like and share. So no matter what you're doing, always enjoy your ride. Peace!